This has been the journey so far. A grand arena gilded by blood, a giant slain, a toll paid in full. But before the king will help our rider, he must have his dead court.
Hey people, it's Kuddlesnot again, and I'm here with episode 22 of the Darksiders 2 100% walkthrough. In the last episode, we captured the Farseer, whatever, doesn't matter. And then we came back to the Eternal Throne to sell relics to Ostagoth, as well as do vendor stuff. So, I'll kind of give you an overview of what I have right now. And I have my beautiful level 13 possessed size called the Lead Man. I don't know why, I just don't like it. Arcane, health per kill, wrath per kill, and execution chance. All good stuff. And then nothing else changed. I did change to another. But then I also grabbed this. Arcane critical damage, arcane resistance, good stuff. Anyway. Alright, so we got a skill point to sell, so let's do it. What do we want? Do we want health? No. Explosions? No. Vapor energy? Definitely no. I don't think we want to break into... Quite need to break into Aegis Guard yet. I want health. I'll do health. Alright. So now we're going... See, I didn't need to quit out. Why did I quit out? I don't know. Just feels right. Okay, so now we can travel to the Farseer's tomb. Not inside, just to right here, so we can travel over here. Alright, in proper Darksiders fashion, we of course have plenty of things to go do before we actually head to the Judicator's tomb, which is the second undead lord. So we want to head down here to where we got the Mystic Stonebite up in one of those windows before. And now, since we have the Farseer, we can actually summon that bad boy and send him over to this switch. However, we'll have him fight the skeleton for us first. Ghoulie out.
Yes.
And we can send him to that switch. Awesome. So we could go left, but nope. We're gonna go right instead, because we can grab some stuff first. Namely, a Boatman Coin. Hey, Boatman Coin. You could jump and get it, but, you know, why not save yourself a jump and just use Death Grip. And we gotta pop our way up some more walls. And we get ourselves the chesty chest. Skull touch face. Oh, what do we got? What do we got? Oh, yeah, right. I have auto loot on. That's right. I turned on auto loot. Okay. Bam. And we get to bypass some more stairs. And we have possibly, I think it's our first real obvious Soul Arbiter Scroll. Whereas before they had been kind of hidden. I think that feels like the first really obvious one. So you might have been introduced to Soul Arbiter Scrolls right there. But it's like, oh, here's a big inviting thing to go do. But nope. Turn your ass around and go up here. And or not go up there. Come on, buddy. There we go. And we are actually going to get a number of Stonebites in this episode, namely 4 different power Stonebites. How awesome is that? Skull touch face. Got some gold. Some redemption. I keep forgetting to have it equipped. I'll have to remember that. Boom. Power Stonebite. Okay.
Go alone.
No, you don't have to go alone. Silly goose. Alright, so now we can ride our way down here. And we're going to head over to the Soul Arbiter's Maze. So technically, we could do it now, because you can look up the directions. However, you'll be way too low level, and you don't have all the Soul Arbiter Scrolls yet. So we're actually going to go after we have all the Soul Arbiter Scrolls, which also means we're going to go when we're proper level. But we can do some things in here right now. Namely, get a Boatman Coin. Number 62. Hello, Boatman Coin number 62. And also, another Power Stonebite. Which is up here. You can also kind of hit the switch and all that kind of stuff. However, I'm not going to do that. Just because I want to save it for when we actually come through here. And there's also a chest you could theoretically grab before having to do anything in the Soul Arbiter's place. But if you hit the switch, some more stuff pops up, boom, boom. But it's timed. It's only up there for a short period. And then you have to like permanently lock it in with a switch over there. However, like I said, we are not going to do it yet. I just did it for example. All right, so Power Stonebite, number 2 for this episode. Number 11 out of 25. And there's skeletons waiting for us. No, you don't. No, you don't. Wow, fail. There we go. Somebody wants to be my friend. Okay. Oh, but before we take off again, there is a special little relic V2 Goth. Hey, buddy. Cool. I guess another skeleton if you really want to beat him up. He deserves not to live. Okay. So now we can ride back, kind of back to where we were, and go down to the bridge. And once we cross this bridge, you could go left and go to the City of the Dead. However, there's no reason to do so right now because A, you can't get in there, and B, you'll be kind of automatically transported there after you get all 3 of the undead lords. So there's like no reason to go over there now, even like to save yourself fast traveling later or anything. But Book of the Dead page number 7. And after the Judicator's tomb, we are going to go to... I hate this. Why are you running away? I want to kill you. We will find 3 more Book of the Dead pages before we head to the Judicator's... before we head to the 3rd tomb, so after we capture the Judicator. Alright, so here's our entrance to the dungeon. However, there's a couple more things we can do. We can get another Boatman Coin, number 63. As well as Chow John over here. So there's a couple things here. There's a relic. There is another Stone of Power and another Boatman Coin. So all very, very good things. And I feel like there's the relic. Relic of Renegoth. Semi-rare. Oh no, you're feeling my crows, buddy. No, you don't. Why you? No, I didn't. I dodged. I like dodged into him. That was weird. Pick up, pick up. All right. We got the relic. Now we can do some more popping. Pop, pop. And get ourselves some more stuff. And I think that's usually the case. You pop, you get stuff. I mean, risk reward or task reward is the usual game, you know, mechanic of pretty much anything. And what the reward is definitely manifests itself in different ways, but this is not an art game, although its art is pretty awesome. Alright, so Skull Touch Face. And we got ourselves a Scythe, and I already have Redemption equipped, and we get another Power Stonebite. Then we can drop our ass down and look around and see, hey, we have a Void Plate. But we're going to have to come back here, so we don't have the Void Walker yet. But that's not all we can get. We can reach out and get another Boatman Coin. I think the only way to get it is with Death Grip from this position. I've tried jumping, I've tried pretty much anything I can try, and I can't get it any other way. So just Death Grip it, and it'll be good to go. Okay. Now, we can finally go to the tomb. Okay. Stuff chasing us? Nope. Definitely thought I heard, like, some yowling. And nothing in here of interest. Okay. Here we see a big old lever, but it's surrounded, so you know what we gotta do. We gotta summon ourselves The Pharisee. Or less specifically, a dead lord. Hit the switch. Come on, buddy. Hit the switch. Yes, thank you. Dead lords can turn to ghost form and pass through grates. I didn't know that. And through doors, apparently. Although we do have a de-summoning line here. Goodbye, my friend. Alright. So we have our first real... Oh, right, okay. Haha! Did not need to use that menu. We have our first real, like, puzzle room. And first we get another power Stonebite. And then if you don't want to head down that direction, there's nothing we can do there. If you remember from the Phariseer's tomb, there was an area only accessible once you get the Phariseer. Same thing here. Down there is a couple chests only accessible once you get the Judicator and you have 2 dead lords at your disposal. However, I did say last episode that I believed it was impossible to reach that special area if you lose when you lose interdiction later in the game, after you get the 3rd dead lord. However, apparently I am incorrect on that. I could have sworn that was the case when I did miss one and came back later. However, it's possible that's either been fixed in a patch. It's also possible that it depends on the platform. I don't know. Or I was just crazy the first time through. Who knows? But in either case, it seems like it's not a problem anymore. So feel free to agree, disagree with me. I honestly don't know what the case is anymore. But it made sense at the time because it's only accessible, at least initially, accessible with interdiction, and I guess the door opens up once you lose it. I don't know. Whoa, no you don't, no you don't, no you don't. See, now you can watch me fail at fighting a simple skeleton champion. So, if you're playing along with me, you're very likely at around level 14, 15, probably 15 by this point. And honestly, you might be slightly under-leveled, because this is a level 16 area. And I can't really find any places to do any weapon grinding. You should be alright, even on Nightmare, it's really not that difficult, just don't be afraid to use potions. And to warp out and go get more potions if you're really having trouble. But there's no real ways to grind up levels. You could, theoretically, if you just went and wanted to destroy skeletons in the overworld, but it takes a long time, and honestly, like, unless you're freakingly paranoid, and hello, Soul Arbiter symbol, unless you're freakingly paranoid, you should be alright. Where I feel like I saw that symbol, and then I'm like, wait a minute, there's totally a scroll around here somewhere. Okay, well, let's send him over there. Okay. No. Oh, I gotta summon him first. Duh, why was it in that room in the first place? I don't know. I can't possibly think of a reason. So we hit the switch, we summon him, and then we're gonna send him over. There's the scroll. I knew it. It's right there. We'll grab it in a second. See, I knew it was here. My Kuddlesnot sense was tingling. Alright, so we hit the lever to raise this up. He sits on that switch to raise that up. And actually, I'm curious to see if this works. No, it doesn't. You can grab onto dead lords with death grip. So that becomes a critical part of some puzzles later in the game. And I was curious you could do it now, but you can't. So you got to pull the pedestal over to the center and then use it as like a point. Well, I jumped too early. Silly me. Watch Kuddlesnot embarrass himself. That's a fun video to watch. Okay, there we go. See, I can pull myself to the statue forms of the dead lords. Skull touch face. And there's no point for unsummoning them right now because we're about to have to desummon them because of a desummoning line. So Soul Arbiter Scroll! A regular one, not a sacred one, which means it leads us through the place normally. Let's cross and go talk to the Judicator.
I have no time for the likes of you, horsemen. I hear the pleas of the dead, not the damned.
And what are the pleas of your lord?
I serve him even now, though he would reward my efforts with eternal torment.
You did leave the eternal throne.
Even here there are souls lost, waiting to be judged and sent into the city of the dead. I have heard 3 such spirits wandering the corridors. Find them and bring them back to me. Once I have cleansed them of their past.
All right.
I will heal.
So I gotta
the
ask.
souls the Lord
So
of
if you were
Lords.
like super awesome dead lord, how come there's 3 souls that are trapped in cages that you cannot seem to reach? What's up with that?
Pleas of the dead.
This is your tomb. This is like your domain. So I'm
Secrets must be laid
ultimately
bare,
confused. So what are
and its
you
light
sending me to do
judged.
your bitch work?
It is a matter of mercy.
Are you a bitch? Well, he
The
becomes a
soul
bitch
of your
because
Lost
you can
and
start commanding
blind
around
until
commanding him around like a dog. So I guess it's oddly appropriate, but it makes me think that these guys are not very good at their jobs. But yeah. So it also introduces another mechanic that we've never seen before. Go get three things and come back to a central room. Okay, I can do that. I can figure that out. Alright, so let's go get that first soul. And we're also, if you need potions or guilt, feel free to shoot up those cages. And we're also going to be introduced to a new enemy type, the Lich. So these are oddly kind of similar to the race, not in what they do, because what they do is they summon those guys. What do they call them? The host. They're all called the host, but they're really weak enemies. But however, you can use them to like rebuild your wrath and do all that good stuff. However, let's do this. So you can use that to your advantage, the death grip. However, it's not a blanket like disengage. What he does is that as he comes close towards the ground, he slams down his big vase thing. And that leaves like a shockwave, so you gotta be careful. Let's summon some ghoulies. Where's the Lich? There he is. So you just gotta avoid that shockwave, and then you have a low opportunity to bring him down. Boom. Goes to dynamite. And you guys see that pathway up there. We will be crossing that very shortly. Alright. If you still had the Farseer, I guess that's somewhere down. Summon him. Okay, so now we have a fun little lantern puzzle. So I say fun little because it is slightly easy. You can kind of get turned around in this place, although it's definitely not as difficult as they get, to say the least. So we want to send them around the bend down to this switch. Ooh, all right. As you can see, we have some corruption over there. We got the direction we're supposed to go over there. And we got a chest over there. And we're gonna get all of it. And also a chest over there, which is the dungeon map. So, we're gonna send them over there to that switch. However, as you can see, there's some corruption blocking it, so methinks that's not gonna lift up. However, if you remember, we can use Death Grip to get all sails across. Alrighty. And we'll let that annoying sound go for a little while. While we get the dungeon map. All old and papyrusy. Alright, then we grab this corruption. Bomb. I guess we didn't grab the corruption, we grabbed the shadow bomb and blew up the corruption. Haha, there we go. Okay, and then we use the death grip again. Take ourselves an oversized lamp. And I think I've said this before, but damn, those Reaper hands are helpful. I don't think Death would be able to have saved War or progressed through his journey without this. And that, I guess that's not really spoilers because we're not really quite clear what happens in the end, but we'll talk about that when we get there. Anyway, Skull Touch Phase, got that blah 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 blah. and then we turn it around. Come on. Oh, right, we gotta send him over there. Silly me. You could send him over there while you go get the chest if you want to save yourself some time, but I wasn't thinking, I didn't do that. Come on. There we go. Okay, okay. Now we go to the tower containing the soul. And here we are above the room where we met the Lich before. And now we're in the tower. So there's a couple things in here, namely 2 chests and a relic. However, we're gonna get them on the way down instead of now, because it'll save yourself a little bit of backtracking. It's not like any immediate benefit for getting those things right now. Even the chests. I'd say it's not worth the extra time you have to do to rescale the place. So we're just gonna save it. Oh no, there's a soul trapped. I don't see him wandering. This was so hard to locate. You even showed me where he was. So I'm just being your bitch, but Judicator, you're gonna become mine soon enough. Evil laugh. And we have another Lich. So let's use a Wrath Potion. I really don't feel like struggling in this battle. Get out of the way, get out of the way. Summon some ghoulies and some crows. Just wail away at the champions. And those are the guys that really get annoying, I think even more so than the Lich. Because the Lich doesn't directly attack you. He just delivers, like, you know, scythe fodder, if you will. So don't worry about him. At least he's not the immediate threat. And also, fun fact, if you haven't figured this out, if you're playing Arcane and you haven't figured this out yet, oh gosh, no. That was a little too close. And that is when you use an execution move, all of your minions die, or they explode, or their spell ends. Meaning like ghouls blow up, etc., etc. So that can actually be helpful because with the ghouls, it forces them to explode on whatever they're swarming at the moment, which can be good. And also usually the benefits of executing far outweigh, you know, the benefits of keeping it out. Although you do have to kind of keep it balanced, especially in something like the Crucible, when you get some later builds. And that kind of actually becomes a tactical move, is detonating your ghouls. Alright, we got the first soul. We almost died, but we didn't because of the very handy-dandy ringing sound. Okay, so where's the chesty chest? There's one. Should be one more. Am I falling too far now? Yes, I am. Because there's one, and then you kind of have to hop over to another one. Unless I'm being high. I'll figure it out. Okay, there we go. Oh, damn it. I picked the wrong one. Okay, well, if you're not an idiot like me, you jump on to that one instead of this one. And then you can hop over to this one from there. However, I'm going to cut it over, and there's the relic if you saw it, but I'm going to cut back to top and then jump onto the proper one. Okay, there we go. Alright. Skull touch face. So this is the one you jump onto the first time properly, and then you jump over to here. Get the second one, and then you jump into the water and get the relic. Relic of Kagoth, the super rare one, so which means we just got a skill point. Do. Alright. Enough stupid stuff. Although I don't think that's possible with me. It's always going to be silly at least. Alright, there we go. So we just jump over there, and then we go out the way we came in. Alright. Of course, we gotta take care of those skeletons. And again, the wonderful mechanic of returning back to the center room. Yeah. Haven't seen this before. In this game, like 100 times.
Judgment is at hand. ones. Always so frightened. See your life as you truly live.
Out of the billions of humans, why are these three special? Why are these three wandering around in his own domain and he's unable to wrangle them? I don't know. Maybe he was just like, I'm just going to sit here until I need to give someone a task to prove themselves to me, and then I'm going to let them do it. Alright, I'll buy that maybe. Okay, the second soul. And right off the bat, we have like our mini boss fight thing. As well as you see the shadow key. Or, I would say shadow key. Skeleton key door. Okay, let's summon off. Oh no, they're releasing the lions in the Colosseum. Alright. In here there's also a Soul Arbiter Scroll as well as a Boatman Coin. And I'll show you where those are after the fight. So don't worry about it. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Okay, let's not embarrass ourselves. No, we're awesome at this game. We're totally awesome at this game. Let's not embarrass ourselves. No. Move out of the way. There we go. Okay, let's use that. And there's the Boatman Coin. However, we're going to try to avoid grabbing it until we have to. No, you don't. Come on, use. Move, 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 move. Undead Prowler. No, you don't. You die, fool. Ha 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 ha. Oh, 2 champions. Fuck. Jeez Louises. Holy banana cream pies. No, 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 no. Give me some more wrath, please. Please, please, please. That's like critical to my whole strategy here, and I don't have any. Okay, no, no, give me... Okay. Use redemption in critical moments to deal damage and to get wrath. Fun fact. Oh, good. Okay. 1 down. See, this should not be this difficult. But it is, because I'm on camera. And I start sucking when I'm on camera. Come on. There we go. Whew! And that's not even the fun part. Hello, Tormentor. Which, for me, seems oddly resembling the Jailer from DS1. But definitely plays differently, for obvious reasons. So let's just deal the damage and dodge his moves. So he has kind of like that thrust thing. And then he has like this big hook swing, and then as you deal damage, he has like additional swings, as well as his acid breath. So don't underestimate that. Ooh. Okay, come on, come on. I'm gonna use a potion because I really don't feel like dying. Like I said, we're somewhat under-leveled for this area, so don't be afraid to use those potions. And you can always travel and go get more, and you should have plenty of money. Especially if you're on Nightmare. There's like no shame in that. It's all about, you know, beating the game without dying, and that means using potions. Obviously, there's probably better builds for this point in the game. However, I just like Arcane, so duck it up. Okay, so here's the Soul Arbiter Scroll. We already picked up the Boatman Coin, which is right there. Coolio. And we can go also grab that chest. Let's go grab that chest. Not probably. There's definitely better builds at this point in the game. I think as you're playing through Nightmare, you kind of want to switch your builds around. But for the sake of illustration, I'm just, okay, let's just use Arcane. Also, that's just what I prefer. And my Uber build is definitely Arcane. At the end game, a lot of the Uber builds that I see are like, oh, it's all critical damage with size. But it's just, I watch videos and I'll make mine soon enough, but it just doesn't compare to mine, to my Arcane build, with Arcane critical chance and Arcane critical damage. It's insane how much damage they do. And then as long as you have the like Wrath Steal and Health Steal, each execution you get puts you up to full health. So, I mean, you're fucking invincible. Invincible. Alright, set him over there. And I guess we do have to go over here. Yes, I do command it, so do it. Alright, so we're gonna have to get to the end of this room, and then we're gonna have to end the episode. Alright. But first, of course, we got a Skull Touch face. Okay, we got the potion, right? Yes, we did. And then jump, and put ourselves over here. Alright, guys. That's it for this episode. We're going to save that Book of the Dead page for the next one. Anyway, thanks for watching. This has been Kuddlesnot. If you like the spreadsheet guide, send me a PM, and we'll send that to you. It kind of lays out what I get in each episode. Also, like me on Facebook if you want to stay up to date on the progress of the episodes and communicate with me a little bit more effectively than through YouTube, because obviously Facebook is Facebook. And again, I guess that's it. Thanks for watching. This has been Kuddlesnot signing off, and I'll see you again next time.